history going to orbit aboard NASA's space shuttle. Available in bookstores and online. And from the Doris Duke Foundation.
I'm John Weber, and this is a WHYY Philly Fun Fact. Did you ever notice a tall, thin brick building just off I-95 in the South Philadelphia neighborhood of Queens Village that kind of looks like a smokestack? Well, that just so happens to be the Spark Shot Tower. Historian David Brigham tells us that was used to make ammunition for the 1812 and the Civil War.
Molten lead was poured through sieves at the top of the tower, and as it fell, it would form perfectly shaped spheres. Upon dropping into a pool of cold water at the bottom of the tower, it would immediately harden into the shape of a ball. This was extremely high-tech for its day.
The 142-foot tall tower was built by a plumber named Thomas Sparks, along with his partner, John Bishop.
It was possibly the first of several such shot towers built in the U.S., and one of the few still standing.
The city purchased the building and the land in 1913, and today the site is a recreation center. The tower itself, however, is sealed off to the public. I'm John Weber, and that's your WHYY Philly Fun Fact.
This is WHYY-FM Philadelphia, WNJN-FM Atlantic City, WNJZ-FM Cape May Courthouse, WNJM-FM Manahawkin, WNJB-FM Bridgeton, and WNJS-FM Berlin.
It's 5:59 as we head into your Sunday evening on WHYY. Hello, I'm Avi Wolfman-Arent. Latino USA is up next. Fresh Air Weekend follows at 7. Stay with us.
Listen to the stories of Black and Latino students organizing at the forefront of the movement.
We're doing things that have actually never been done before, guys. We're changing the way that people think about student debt.
By the time I graduate, student debt better be canceled. Like, I'm not paying it back. I will personally go up to Joe Biden and tell him, like, I'm not paying it back.
All this coming up on Latino USA. I'm Maria Hinojosa. Stay with us. No te vayas.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Hurst. The Biden administration is calling on Republicans to pass spending bills to keep the government operating. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says a shutdown could impact air travel.
In the event of a shutdown, we would have to immediately stop so many important activities in the Department of Transportation, like training air traffic controllers.
Heard there on ABC's This Week. President Biden says funding the government is one of the most basic responsibilities of Congress. And he says if the government does shut down, military members would go without a paycheck and programs to keep the public safe would have to be suspended. Meanwhile, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is intensifying calls on fellow Republicans to pass stopgap spending measures to avoid a partial government shutdown next Sunday, October 1st. Though there's no sign the small hard-right faction holding up the bills will move toward a resolution. McCarthy is expected to hold votes on spending bills on Tuesday. In Kosovo, one police officer was killed, another injured in what the Prime Minister is calling a terrorist act. NPR's Rob Schmitz reports on the flare-up of violence between two former wartime foes.
The incident, the first act of major violence in months, happened in a village in the north of Kosovo. In a statement, police said that two heavy vehicles without license plates were positioned on a bridge and fired at police units with an arsenal of firearms, including hand grenades and rocket launchers. NATO troops, along with members of the EU police force and Kosovo police, could be seen patrolling the road leading to the village. The area borders Serbia. Kosovo's government has blamed Serbian government criminal gangs for the violence. Serbia denies the claims. Tensions have run high for months in Kosovo, a former Serbian province, after clashes in May between Serb protesters and NATO peacekeepers. Rob Schmitz, NPR News, Berlin.
A canister containing about a cup's worth of asteroid rock has safely landed in Utah. NPR's Nell Greenfield-Boyce reports it's a culmination of a 7-year NASA mission.
NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft launched in 2016. In 2020, it collected rocks from an asteroid that was about 200 million miles away. Now, it's delivered them to Earth. A sample return capsule holding its precious cargo descended towards a desert near Salt Lake City under an orange and white parachute as scientists and mission managers anxiously tracked its progress.
Touchdown. I repeat, EDO. Air speeding has touchdown.
Helicopters went out to retrieve the capsule. On Monday, it will go to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. Scientists have set up a lab there where they can open it up without contaminating the pristine asteroid rock, remnants of the early solar system and planet formation that are older than Earth. Nell Greenfield-Boyce, NPR News.
And you're listening to NPR News from Washington. Former President Jimmy Carter, along with his wife Rosalind, took a ride through the Plains Peanut Festival in their Georgia hometown this weekend. The Carter Center says the couple enjoyed the ride, which is a week ahead of Carter's 99th birthday on October 1st. The former president has been in home hospice care since February, and the former First Lady has been diagnosed with dementia. The couple celebrated their 77th wedding anniversary this summer. The women's marathon world record was smashed in Berlin, Germany today. As NPR's Joe Hernandez reports, Ethiopian runner Tigst Assefa beat the previous best time by more than 2 minutes.
Assefa completed the BMW Berlin Marathon in 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 53 seconds. That was 2 minutes and 11 seconds faster than the previous women's world record set in Chicago in 2019 by Kenyan runner Bridget Kosgei. The 26-year-old Assefa says she didn't expect to run the race so quickly, but that it was the result of hard work. On the men's side, Kenyan runner Eliud Kipchoge finished the competition in 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 42 seconds. It was his 5th time winning the Berlin Marathon. Joe Hernandez, NPR News.
Talks between the Striking Writers Guild of America and studios continued this weekend. Writers went out on strike in May, and sticking points are artificial intelligence, residuals, and data transparency. Actor Steven Weber says actors support the strike.
They're not asking for much. They're asking for a wage that's commensurate with the cost of living, really basic.
The actors' strike against studio also continues. This is NPR.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Heather Sturt-Haga and Paul G. Haga, supporting African Wildlife Foundation, working to ensure the future of Africa's wildlife and wildlands. Learn more at awf.org.
This is Latino USA, the radio journal of news and cultura.
It's Latino USA.
Welcome to
Latino USA.
I'm Maria Hinojosa. And today we have a story for you from our archives. Enjoy. So I'm in the studio today with producer Julia Rocha. Hey, Ju.
Hey, Maria. So, I don't know if you remember this, Maria, but when I joined the team as a little intern at Latino USA back in January of 2020, I was still in school at our shared alma mater, Barnard College. And as a child of immigrants and first-generation college student, higher education was always framed to me as like the avenue for upward mobility.